Hello everyone, this is a video that I'm putting together to kind of show the basics and the fundamentals of drain plan drawing and how we can go about doing them. So this sheet may look familiar to you. I believe this is the one we did yesterday. So when we look at a drain plan, there's a few things we have to establish off the bat. That is, what type of venting are we going to use? Now, if we look at these two bathrooms, we can see they're three-piece bathrooms, and we know that the code allows us to do wet venting when it comes to groups like these because they're all so close together and they're more than likely not going to be used at the same time. That's why it's called a bathroom group. So we look at these and we see, okay, we see a toilet, we see sinks and showers, all that kind of stuff. It looks like it can be wet vented. If we go back to our table, basically anything can be wet vented, but this is, when we look at this, we can see it'll be simple and it'll be a whole lot easier than installing individual vents. If we look at, say, the other one, this is the next one we're going to work on here. We have a four-piece bathroom. Now, we know that we can run a three-piece off of a wet vent fairly easily. Now, when we want to add a fourth fixture, then that changes things up a little bit. All right, if we go back to our table, when we have a 2-inch pipe, we can serve a sink and a shower or a tub. That's how much fixture units that the code allows us to put on that 2-inch wet vent. Any more than that, and we have to upsize it to 3-inch. And now when you have to upsize it to 3-inch pipe, then it gets really difficult because now we have to fit a 3-inch pipe into a 2x4 wall because that is also a drain, but also the vent, so it has to go into the wall. So when we see that, we know, okay, maybe we won't attempt to wet and vent all 4 fixtures, but we can still wet vent 3 and then individually vent the 4th, but more on that when we get to it. And then when we have this last one, this is an example of a commercial bathroom. And we have a few notable code things that we have to keep in mind of. First of all, we see we have 3 toilets back to back. So we know that that code about upsizing the drain comes into effect. And we have a bank of 3 sinks. We can't take all 3 sinks on the same drain pipe. So we may have to individually vent one of these sinks. But more on this when we get to that. Okay, so let's go back to the one that we worked on yesterday. So if you remember, we have the 3 main colors when it comes to our drains. And I'm going to use colors for this, but you guys do not have to use colors. We have first one, let's change the color. First one is red. Red stands for drainage. Next color we have is a solid green. Solid green stands for a wet vent. So when I asked you guys to label the wet vent portion, it's basically in place of the green, so I know which part is actually the wet vent. And then we have a green but broken line. That green broken line stands for the vent. Okay? We won't be needing this on this page, but we will be needing this on the next pages. Okay? So let's start on this one. So we know that our drain, or we can assume that our drain is coming in from the hallway. So let's do that. Let's just start by adding our drain. It's nice and easy on a computer. You can easily delete it. But we put our drain in. Let's change this to red. And we know that we're going to end up having to come to the toilet. Okay? So we know that this, because we're wet venting everything, this will be the last, this will be the actual fixture connected to the drain system or the drainage system. And then we'll be taking the wet vent off of this. So since we know that, we go to the center of the fixture because we want all of our drains to be lining up where the actual drain of the fixture is. Okay? So we have our bathtub here. The circle provides where the drain is going to line up. But the toilet, we don't have a circle, but we know that the drain for a toilet is right in the center. So that's where we're going to go. Okay? We're going to bring our drain down. And having it connect at a 90-degree angle is incorrect. We've talked about that before. So we are going to bring it up, and then we're going to add another piece to simulate a fitting. See, this is a little bit too steep of an angle, so we're going to go on the 45, and then we just zoom in here and erase what we're looking at. Okay, there you go. Now we have the toilet connected to the drainage system. Perfect. However, we have a problem here. We still need to wet vent this. So how are we going to do this? So yesterday in class, I talked about we can put the drain for the sink or the wet vent in the wall here because this is within 5 feet, right? If we remember back to the code reference, we're allowed 5 feet between the fixture outlet pipe and the crown or the weir of the vent connection. Okay, basically from where the fixture connects to the system to where the vent connects, we're allowed 5 feet for 1.5 inch pipe. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to change our color once we place it down to green because it's a wet vent, solid green. So we're going to come off this, not 90 degrees. Okay, 90 degree would be incorrect. So we're going to come off in a 45 degree. Okay, and we can just come straight off like any which way we want. Okay, I like that. We'll change that up. Okay, then we can continue on. There you go. Add another line. Wait, there you go. And then come up and connect into the wall. Okay, and then at this point, we can add in the connection to our tub, which would go back to being red because it's not a wet vent. We'll go back to being red. We'll change that color, and there you go. Okay, now we also have to add the trap for our tub. So I'm going to zoom in, little marker, and I'm going to draw the trap as nicely as I can. Can I change that? Oh, no, undo that, change the color, and do that again, shall we? Okay. There's the trap connection. Or there's a trap. And then we're going to make the connection. There you go. But this isn't neat, so I'm going to erase this. And there you go. There's the trap connection. Now, when we show that we have a stub out in the wall, or we have the pipe coming up in the wall, we need to have a circle. Okay? Now, the circle for this, because it's a drain that we're seeing, will be red. All right? If you have a pipe coming into the wall, I need to see this circle. Or else, I just think you have a pipe just sticking in the wall, which is not really going to work. So, let's see if this works. Okay? And there you go. And fill that in. So this is the first way, or this is one of the ways that we can draw this drawing. Okay? This is realistic about how we do it, except maybe this offset, we wouldn't add it, we just come right off. But this is one way that we can do it. So, but let's change this up. Because I know we did it a different way back in class, so we're going to do it a different way as well. Let's change this up. Let's erase this. Let's erase this. I'm going to keep these two because they're pretty similar. I'll erase it when I need it. So let's come back here and let's add our line. So we come across. This also works. We'll change this to green again, solid, because it is a wet vent. Add our line. Add another line. Connect these two because again, they're wet vents. Heading into the wall. I want to close the gap here. All right, pretty good. Then we go back and we connect our tub. Change this back to red. And then make our 45 degree Y and 45 connection. And there you go. Okay, this might look more familiar. So this is another way of drawing the wet vent. Now we're also going to size these, but that's after we do both. Okay, let's go to this one. We have our toilet again, a double vanity, which we know doesn't really matter. It's pretty much the same as just a single vanity, except we're going to put a double fitting on it. And then we have our shower pan with the tub with the trap in the center. So let's draw this out. So we know that our toilet's going to be the connection again. So we're going to put it right in the middle and we're going to come down. I'm going to draw the drain somewhere in the middle here. It can be under this post. I don't really care. And we always want to make sure that our 45s are in the direction of flow. In the direction of flow. We don't want to have our 45 like this if our drain's coming from this way. Okay? Because if we have our drain coming like this, that's in the wrong direction of flow. And that wouldn't work. That would not work. It would clog all the time. Okay, let's change that up. Go back here, put a 45 in the direction of flow, and there you go. Now we have our connection to the drain. Now I'm looking at this, and I know, again, it's basically, don't let the double vanity scare you, because we can use a double Y. It's still basically a 3-piece washroom. It's essentially the same thing as this, as the top one. So we know I'm going to be wet venting it the same way. Okay, so we go back here, come out with our line. We're going to change this to green. Again, solid green because it's a wet vent. 45. 45. And then come up in the middle, in the center. And then because it's a pipe in the wall, I'm going to add my circle. Fill red, line type red. Boom. Okay, and there you go. Now, to show, I didn't do it here at the top one, I apologize, but we will do that now. To show that we're going to be bringing pipes over to feed each of these sinks, we're going to go back, get our lines, and we don't want to connect it to these dots. Okay, you want it to be off. And then you want the end of this line to be in line with the center of the sink or wherever the outlet pipe is. Okay, because the outlet pipe's in the center here. That looks pretty in line to me. Bring it over, same thing, it's in the center, and there you go. These sinks are done. Let's go back over here and do it. Bring this pipe all the way over in the center of the sink. Okay, that's fairly in line. Good with me. Now, if we go over here, back to this, we have our wet vent done. Great, fantastic. The toilet is now wet vented. So this is acting as the vent for the toilet, but also the drain for the sink. But we also have to add the shower drain. And again, we know we're allowed to put a shower drain on the vent if it's the right size. So let's do that. We'll continue this over, like so. Red's the right color, because again, this is not a vent. This is the drain, because this is just a straight drain. This is the vent. The wet vent is actually the vent for the toilet, but also the shower. That's because we're sizing this correctly, or large enough that it can serve as a vent for more than one fixture. Okay, now I want to draw the trap for this, but I don't want to draw on a weird angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it like this. Flip the whole page. You can do this on your table fairly easily. And let's draw this trap. We come down, up, over, and around. Come up, bring out our lines. Bring this over. And connect to the system like so. And look at that. We've now completed both of these plans. And they're both essentially the same, right? The only difference is that the drain pipe for the shower pan is a little bit longer than the drain pipe for the tub, but we still have a wet vented water closet and either tub or shower.